Now we go to Tuesday, and this is where I made a really big change. So in the past, as I mentioned, I used to have certain days for certain calls, right? Like I would have Wednesday would be my podcast recording day. Tuesday would be my coaching call day. Thursday would be my team calls and any other calls that I may have day. But what that ended up doing is really kind of stressing my schedule out and overwhelming me because I ended up being on all these calls throughout the week. So now that the way that I do it is Tuesday is my call day, period, plain and simple, end of story. I do my coaching calls on Tuesday. I do my team calls on Tuesday. Any podcast interviews or podcast recordings that I need to do, like the one I'm doing now, it's happening on a Tuesday. Tuesday is the day that I'm really kind of more consuming a lot of things, right? I have to create all of this stuff, but actually get it out into the world. Tuesday is also the day that if I don't actually create the content that I planned and prepped on Monday, I will do that on Tuesday. So Tuesday is the day that I know I need to be camera ready. I need to be locked and loaded. I need to make sure that I get a good night's sleep the day before. I got to get up early, get my workout in, and get going because as a mom of littles, I don't have the luxury of having all day and all afternoon to work on my business. I really, honestly, have the prime hours of about 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. to really work on my business. Around 3:30, my son gets home from school, my daughter's up from her nap, and I have to be a mom until they go to bed. And so those are really my key hours, pretty much every day of the week. 10 to 3 is when I'm going to be my best and going to be on. So with that said, I know that 10 to 3, I got to pack a lot in between those hours. So that means I have to be as organized and ready to go the night before, the week before, the day before for my Tuesday day, because it is a very important day. It requires a lot of energy. It requires me to show up as my full self, as my highest self. And what I love about this is that once Tuesday's done, I don't have any other calls for the rest of the week unless I want to have them. But it just allows me to have so much more freedom through the rest of the week. And I'm not chained to a desk, or I'm not chained to a phone, or I'm not chained to a Zoom link having to do a bunch of calls. So I love this for me. Now, for somebody else out there, you could think that maybe this is going to be too overwhelming for you, like the thought of you doing all these calls on one day. But again, the other thing that I do is I make sure to not overload myself. So it's not like I'm doing 5 coaching calls and 4 podcast episodes and a team call and all these other calls on Tuesday. I really only load my schedule up with about 3 to 4 total calls on a Tuesday. One of those has to be a coaching call because I have those, that's a commitment that I have every Tuesday. One of those has to be a team call because that's another commitment that I have every Tuesday. And then the other 2 can either be podcast episodes, or if I'm connecting with somebody, a colleague or something like that, they can fit into my schedule. And that's the other big takeaway that I want to share with you. I have a Calendly that is like locked and loaded and ready to go. I always require that me and my team, we send my Calendly out. And if people want to meet with me or have a call with me, they need to fit into my schedule as it is. Now, of course, I'm not going to be crazy and not be flexible if what I have available doesn't work for someone else and they need me to work with them. I'm happy to do that if and when it works. But 99% of the time, when I tell people, hey, I only do calls on Tuesdays, this is what I have available for the next month, they find a time that works. And if that means that it may take a week or 2 for us to talk, then that just means it may take a week or 2 for us to talk. If it's not a priority that we get on the phone immediately, we can wait a week or 2. And again, what that allows me to do is stay focused on what the main goals are, what the main priorities are, and allows me to not overload and overwork myself on a Tuesday. So I love Tuesdays being full of calls. Again, at most, I'm going to have 3 to 4. So it's not like it's an overloading, but then I get all the calls done for the rest of the week and I can focus on the other things, which then I go into Wednesdays.